decibel level, trying to quiet him. Tua down the field, got Smythe for a second straight play. 2nd and 8. Tua thought about it, looks back the other way, and they almost got intercepted. Then on the rebound, it was a catch by Waddle. Picks up 11.
This is what we call game-changing plays, one way or the other.
Back to Achane. Achane's got another touchdown. Finds the end.
So excited.
Pass play to Knox. Dawson Knox shoves aside the defender and picks up the first down. Here's a handoff for the first down and a whole lot more. It's Murray racing down to the 12-yard line. 1st and goal. Cook as Allen helps push him from behind across the goal line. By the 2 quarterbacks as Tua starts the 2nd quarter with another complete. What a catch. Look at this play. And they end up running it. It's Achane taking it home for another touchdown.
No way.
Oh, the defense. We've seen Cook, we've seen Murray. They both have contributed. Now going deep down the field, and that's going to generate a flag. Kohu's over there celebrating the breakup.
And he's not playing the ball. That's why you get called here. You got to play the ball.
First, they've got Jalen Ramsey out. Rolling, throwing on the run. Caught at the goal line. It's Diggs with a touchdown. Tua setting up a screen. Cut back middle. Mostert. Ball's on the ground. Ball pops out, and a Dolphin is right there in the area to recover it.
Something fun to watch.
2nd and 6. Josh looking down the sideline. It's Diggs with another flag out. He is able to get away from those 2 tacklers, and no one's going to touch him the rest of the way. Touchdown, Buffalo. Looking outside, going end zone, wide open. Berrios brings in a conversion. Puts it up. Knocked away by Dane Jackson. Like this. 2nd and 6. Not there. Allen still trying to find something.
With the help back here.
2nd and 10. Down the field and intercepted. He overthrew him. It's Micah Hyde. Hyde spinning out of one tackle. And they are. No, he won't even get a chance. It's Ed Oliver again.
Alert it. Get people crossing.
Going to be a key. It's going to be all the way to the end zone for Josh Allen. Spencer Brown, the right side. The only thing I know is I know nothing.
I said, wow, that's me.
We all can relate to that. You just don't know in this league. They will tangle again on the week's regular season's final week.
Well, the Dolphins started well. They were keeping up, but suddenly the wheels fell off of the brain. And for some fans, even fell off the bandwagon after the 1st quarter. There was a lot of bumpy waters on the X Twitter waters. A lot of fans were jumping on the bandwagon. But Steve, I want to start with you. What your thoughts about that? Well, it's rough to watch, but still,
it's rough to watch, and of the replays that I've watched from it, it doesn't get any easier. It's kind of like the absolute opposite against the Broncos. I couldn't get enough of those highlights and the nonstop touchdowns and scoring.
It's a bizarro game, yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And as much as I did move on very quickly after that Broncos game, because I knew I had a feeling of what we were going to face going up into Buffalo. Into a very hostile environment. We talked about it a lot last episode, and it really turned out to be what I thought it was going to be. There's a lot of negative stuff to talk about, and I'm sorry to our panelists that are going to be joining us, Eddie and Matt. I'll be dumping it on them when we have that segment coming up. There were some highlights. Devon Achane, is he RB1 now? Mostert puts the ball on the ground too much more. I really would like to think McDaniel's a faithful person. Heck, it's why we've got Jeff Wilson Jr. and Raheem Mostert in the first place on this team. They're talents, but they're also known variables that McDaniel brought here when he came to Miami. So the performances that Devon Achane has put out there, I really think that he's earning the trust, earning the extra carries. He continues this forward for a couple more weeks here through the Giants and the Panthers games. We might see him listed top of the depth chart and getting those starting reps. And then on the other side of the ball, really not a lot to shine there, but I really am happy to see Van Ginkel, AVG, showing up for another consistent week. All of us Dolphins fans, we know who he is. For anybody that isn't a part of the Dolphins fan nation, they are starting to realize what all of us have seen, that he's a diamond in the rough. Fangio loved him, was happy that he was sticking around for the team this year. So there are some bright points. There's just unfortunately way too many rough points.
I agree. Uh, it was definitely rough. All parts of the game, especially when Amsterdam were down. You can see you probably could survive with Eichenberg and the communication on the line, but as soon as Amsterdam fell, you could see that the thing was not the same. They were definitely not the same. And the Bills, we probably believe our own hype, and we're gonna talk about that more later. But the Bills had a chip on their shoulder. They wanted to prove. They played mad. They remember what Mustard did to them last season. They remember the close games, the game in Miami. They wanted to establish their dominance. They played angry, and well, the Dolphins sometimes can be too nice or too much of a finesse team. We'll have to see if the Dolphins can find after this loss that edge that they need to sustain a game against rougher teams like the Eagles, like the Cowboys, and like the Bills.
Absolutely. There is absolutely no doubt in my mind they had a chip on their shoulder and a sign of the times that we're in. Miami's leaving in the airport to go to Buffalo, and they're wearing these shirts with the emoji with this little thing on their faces and everything.
I still
Look
didn't
at
get
what
that. I
I
didn't
don't
get that.
what I don't get it. I don't care. You know what? You know who did get it? Josh Allen got it,
Yeah,
because when he
see.
ran that ball in and he does that little stupid pose and everything, and
Mm-hmm.
they see it. They see these things. They don't need any more motivation,
Yeah.
and it's football is a different sport. At least here in North America, we don't play rugby as often, everything here. But what other sport do you have where every time they flip possessions, you're facing the same group of people and you've got to prove
Mm-hmm.
that you can do something to outlast them or to beat them? And
Mm-hmm.
we went head to head to head and just have that gut feeling that it's going to be a shootout, and the first team to blink is going to be the one to lose, and then we blink, we fumble, we punt, they score, we don't, and it's a slippery slope, and we just fell down it.
Yeah, after that basically was the the snowball rolling down the hill. There was no way to stop it. The Dolphins were trying to catch up. The 2 point conversion, I still don't get why they will go to 2 point conversion. If you get the touchdown, and I don't think it was a kicker thing. Personally, I don't. But if you get the touchdown, why stop the momentum? You got a touchdown. You're running behind, but if you miss the 2 point conversion, then the momentum stops it. And that
Correct.
crowd was wild. The crowd was a factor. I'm old enough to remember Buffalo used to be, is, and still to me is one of the best home field advantage from the fans' perspective in the whole NFL.
Yeah,
Green Bay, Seattle, the Buffalo, those fans were rabid. They were after the Dolphins. They really wanted to win. And like we said, the emoji thing, I still get it. Why the media gave them enough motivation to say that the Dolphins were going for their crown, that the Dolphins
100%.
were ready. We believe the hype. At least we believe the hype enough to believe it was a really competitive game. We had no reason to believe we wouldn't be. There were factors, of course, but like I said in a tweet, uh, they had the best team on the best team, the best personnel on the field that game. If everybody's healthy, it's probably a different game. But at game time, where the Chiefs was on the table, they had the better team. They executed and they found to win the game. How to win.
100%. No
So
other way to put it.
I agree. So we're going to be joined by our esteemed panelists, Matt Astor and Eddie Chabot. Good evening, guys. Well,
How's it going,
just
guys?
highlights.
Good. How are you?
It was a rough
I'm
game.
here.
We had vastly different expectations of what happened. I want to start with. I know Eddie said he had a lot to get off out of his chest the last couple of days, but I'm going to start with Matt. What your thoughts about the game, Matt?
That was a classic shootout in the making. Um, I've sat there watching this thing thinking, oh my goodness, these two teams are them, right? These two teams are the teams in the NFL. And I had this feeling that the first one, I think Steve just said, the first one that blinks, and the blinking was uh, a fumble, uh, the near interception that Waddle was able to bring in. That those are the cracks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those happened not because the Dolphins weren't playing well. They happened because the Bills were playing better, and they kept that pressure up. We're not talking about the Jets here. We're not talking about the Broncos here. The Bills are a legitimate. They have been for years, and they took whatever offense they needed to. The whole world talked about the Dolphins for a week. 70 points. Is this the best team? I know people who have said the Dolphins were going to go undefeated this year, right? So I am certain that the Bills had plenty of bulletin board material. Uh, Sometimes I don't give that too much credence, but on Sunday, the Bills were the better team. They took advantage of those circumstances. I think that McDaniel may have gotten away from some things that were working, and he may have done it because he felt like he didn't have a choice. That's an assumption on my part.
Mm-hmm.
The Bills were definitely not just on the scoreboard, but they were definitely the best team on the field on Sunday.
Absolutely. How about you, Eddie? What are your thoughts about the game?
Well, I'm tired of our team playing a physical team and always getting pushed around. It happens every year. I know I love the speed, don't get me wrong, but it would be nice to convert a 3rd and 1. Be nice not to be in shotgun on 3rd and 1. But for me, it all starts with the defense putting way too much pressure on the offense. Uh, not to be able to make a single stop. I mean, not even put them in 3rd and long. Um, I'm not sure what it is. I know I'm not happy with the play of the linebackers or the 3 first-round picks on the defensive line. And I'm not sure if Fangio's not being more complex because the players he has, or this is his defense. I just don't know. I just know that they kicked our butts and we couldn't do anything with them. Um, they made a mistake by not getting a backup center. Eichenberg is not a starting offensive lineman. I mean, I'm just a fan. I mean, I've paid and put enough money. I can have an opinion about players, but he does not belong. I don't even think he belongs on our roster, to tell you the truth. I'm sure that somebody could do the job he's doing. I believe he was a worst ranked center this week, and it was frustrating. You have to move to next week, but they have some holes to fill, and I know some injuries will come. Some of the injured players will come back, but I don't know if that'll fix everything they need because some other people will get injured. And the reason Armstead got hurt was because Eichenberg got pushed so far back,
Mm-hmm.
he got bent backwards over Eichenberg, who was on the ground. So a little disappointed with them getting rid of Feeney and not keeping a veteran backup center. Other than that, it was great.
Oh, that was great. In episode 2, Steve and I played a game that was called Sink or Swim, and we talked at length about Eichenberg. I was under the opinion by that time that he would not survive the first cuts. He rebounded. He's played well in spurts, very small spurts, but he probably give you a couple of snaps. But the communication. I don't know who's making the calls of defensive linemen on the line. If it was probably was Connor Williams. If is out, who's making the calls? If it's Armstead, is it Eichenberg, is it Robert Hunt? But you can see the communication were lacking. They were coming after it. They were not reacting as fast. They didn't look ready. So it was Steve. Any last thoughts about the whole Bills
Last
game? Yes,
thoughts?
yeah.
I haven't even
All
gotten
those you want.
started. I haven't even
Please
gotten
go ahead.
started. I already gave you the good, the
Okay, please
bad.
give me the
I've
bad.
I've got to peel it back. I've got to just start digging in deep here to the things. Defense. Where was the defense?
Hmm.
Everybody here has already talked about it, so it's nothing new. it's it's not just a player fit type thing. I heard some people talking about, is it Fangio and he doesn't have his players? Eddie, you just said this. Problem is we don't have the time to sit back, let this year cycle out, throw out the people that don't fit his scheme, get
Hmm.
some capital so we can go out there and try to find these people to fit his scheme. I don't believe we have a big window here.
No.
Our window with Tua on his little contract it's already closing. What do we got?
Hmm.
2 years left of him at this type of
Probably
contract.
this one next.
Yeah, and then we've got the 5th year option next year that we've already
Hmm.
taken out on him.
20
But
something million.
but we don't have the luxury because we have Chubb, we have Hill, we have Ramsey, we have all these other resources being spent up in places that the window just isn't there for us to have that opportunity.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge proponent of Pro Football Focus, but they pump out these numbers, and I'm just looking at like on the defense: David Long, Jerome Baker, Sealer, and Wilkins. We love Sealer and Wilkins.
Hmm.
I mean, almost all of them. I think their average drop from where they were last year to this year, the average is like 11 points lower this year than where they were last year.
That's probably how great.
And that's going up against some decent teams, but the Patriots weren't an offensive juggernaut.
No.
We should have been able to dominate them, and we pushed the Broncos around a little bit. They really
Hmm.
only put up 13 offensive points. So, but those types of things are just it's kind of inexcusable. Brandon Jones, extremely happy to see him, but damn, we missed Deshaun Elliott this week.
Hmm.
Not sure if he's going to be able to come back. Seriously, I'm really excited to see Brandon Jones making a comeback a year removed from that knee surgery. I know he's excited, but he can't play deep in the field, missed a bunch
No.
of tackles, was out of position way too much. Josh Allen, the guy was staring his wide receivers down, and it didn't matter.
Didn't matter.
He still threw it to where he wanted to throw the ball, and he
Hmm.
got completions. Or Cater Kohu, who really, for the first time that I can remember, he got beat around like a rag doll that entire game. Xavier Howard said after the game, I don't know why you're paying me all this money and I'm here as the lead cornerback on this team when Ramsey's not on the field and
Hmm.
he's not shadowing him. I don't somebody here can correct me if I'm wrong and I'm going to give I like to give little shout outs to random people in here. My nephew Reese is sitting in our patio watching the game and he's sitting there just frustrated. Why isn't Xavier Howard on Diggs? Why isn't he on Diggs? Correct me if I'm wrong here, but as long as I can remember, Xavier Howard has always played that side of the field.
Hmm.
Whoever's been the defensive coordinators in all those years, he sticks to that side of the field, and we've never really swapped around with him chasing the top wide receivers. But that's a very valid question. And Howard called it out in his post game where he was like, I don't know. I'm your top guy. I want to prove it by being out there covering their top guy. And who knows? Maybe if he flexed around in the field and was shadowing Diggs, we don't know if he would have put up 3 touchdowns and just absolutely murdered us on that. Um, One of the things that I caught after the game was Jaylen Waddle. And I don't know if anybody caught his comments, and he said that they just wanted it more. And there's people out here that are upset about that, but they're professionals,
Hmm.
and that those statements shouldn't be coming out of one of your top players' mouths, shouldn't be really be coming out of anybody's mouths. But I believe it to be true. I
Yeah.
believe that the our offensive game plan, we came in there like we were expecting a home field advantage and we weren't going to see things. Eddie, you were just saying who's calling the offensive line signals? If they were calling offensive line signals and it was Williams there, would they have even heard it? That stadium was rocking.
It was funny.
And the more that we slipped and fell down that slope or picked up in the snowball and got bigger and bigger, it just got worse and worse. And every time, it's the one of the most amazing things about growing up in that area is you see how passionate the fans are.
Yeah.
And if the players didn't want it more, and it pains me to say this, but the difference between a home game at Hard Rock and a home game at whatever field it is in Orchard Park, New York, their home field advantage, those fans give you a feeling that they want it more. year in, year out, game in, game out, they want it more and they bring it to let people know that. I long for the days that may come in the hopefully the near future where we sell out games. Fans aren't selling their tickets to the highest bidder from the opponent's team fan base, and we have a true home field advantage where people say, damn, it's December. It's not 95 degrees and burning us up out there on the field, but we couldn't do anything because we couldn't hear anything in that revamped field with the sound reflecting top, ceiling that Tom Garfinkel put on that place. You know, it's it's just really frustrating to see that, not to feel like your team can get out there and execute. But I feel like we really lost before the game started, and it was only a matter of time before we slipped up and weren't able to execute on those things on offense. And we got punched in the mouth several times, and eventually they just took advantage of it.
Yeah, most definitely. We're going to talk a lot about the whole team more on the next segment on Crossroads. But you can see the defense going to what I said before and what Waddle said. The defense was overset, overplaying. They were playing panic. They were going for the ball instead of making tackles. They were out of position. Baker is. Uh, I'm speechless sometimes about his play. He's I'm not an X and O's guy. That I will leave that to the Josh House and the guys, the reasons, and the people who know more about that stuff than me. Credit to that, but I'm I'm burst enough to see that you can see the linebackers were not in position. They were running the ball at will. The tacklers were over tackling and not going for the ball. There was a play where basically Jones even tackled Kohu and that went for a touchdown for Dick. So it was just ridiculous. Uh, Matt, any last thought about the Blues game before we go to the next segment? What's next for the Dolphins going forward?
I went outside just a minute ago and I looked up and the sky is not falling. It's not. We're 3-1, just behind the Bills, who, spoiler alert, may be number one in the power rankings at the end of the show tonight. 3-1, and I want to bring up one thing that's really important for Dolphins Nation, and that is all off season. All we heard was if they stay healthy, and who is they that they're talking about?
Mm-hmm.
They're talking about Tua, right?
Mm-hmm.
He got sacked 4 times by one of the best defensive lines in the NFL. Okay. And he got up. He's
Mm-hmm.
healthy. All right. He lives to fight another day. Giants, you're up. So I I am of the belief, and the glass is always half full with me. Most of the time it's overflowing. I am of the belief that the Dolphins went to Buffalo and they were not going to win. They were not going to win on Sunday. The Bills, Steve said it a moment ago, they were locked in. That crowd, how the all of us, the 4 of us, could go up there and catch a pass or run off 6 or 7 yards if we had that crowd behind
Mm-hmm.
us. We're in good shape, guys. Our quarterback, he survived a butt kicking. I trust that they'll make the adjustments that they need to make. There are some worrisome things. Eddie has mentioned them. Um, I've been not a fan of Liam, but not against him so much. It's been made very clear that that was his first game ever playing center. Was it this game or the game before? The game before that it was the first time he ever played center. You know, did they put themselves in a hole by getting rid of the other guy? Perhaps uh, Feeney. But I think that we're in good shape going in against the Giants. And I would like to put this behind me. It's like eating a bad sandwich. I'm not going to eat that sandwich again. And we'll see them in January.
Oh, well, any last thought, Eddie?
Not too much. You guys touched on pretty much everything. Steve brings up a good point. I think I believe we've said it before about home field. That was a great crowd. It's nice to have one. Sometimes you go to Hard Rock and it's 40% of the other team's fans. Sometimes they're louder than the Miami fans. I know sometimes the experience at the Miami games, people complain when you stand up and cheer, and they make you sit down. That's a problem, and you got to let your fans get loud, and that's, I don't know. I think they're doing something about it. People have complained to Tom Garfinkel about it, so I think it's getting better. But I'd love to have a fan base like that. I mean, I know there's nothing else to do in Buffalo, but go watch a football game. But and there's a million things to do in Miami. But it's they have passionate fans, so it's really nice.
Yeah, I had the chance to go to last year's game, Miami versus Buffalo. The Bills Mafia is for real. They really love their team. They're tough fans. Yeah, well, but at the end of the day, I did it. The Dolphins they put a tweet after the game saying that the elevator was broken. The Dolphins the Dolphins made a perfect chance just to put the two Super Bowl trophies on the elevator, but maybe for the next time.